Hello, welcome to Dare to Dream, Dharma Queen. And we have incredible experts whom have gathered from literally around the globe for you to give you the keys to unlock your calling. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself, because we are in times of great change, and whether you sense this or not, and I'm assuming that you do, right? That you are sensing that there is a tide of change, that time seems to be moving faster. And there's this quiet undertow of enlightenment happening, and you are a part of that. So thank you for being here. I have tingles as I am saying that. For those who don't know me, I am your host, Rose Metcalfe. I'm so honored to get to interview all of these incredible experts today. They are going to give you the keys to unlock your calling. And this entire event was created by you. I surveyed over 2,500 women and asked them, what is it that you most need right now? And from the responses, I saw a theme, and it is, how do I pave a path for a career for Dharma in the world that doesn't follow the patriarchal roadmap? Maybe you have healing gifts. Maybe you have gifts that feel like they're outside of the parameters of the world that we grow up in. And so if that is you today, you're going to hear from experts that are walking the walk. They are leaders who are doing what it is that you want to know how to do. Why is it that you seek clarity? You want to know what it is you're going to be doing in the world before you initiate the journey. It's actually so that your nervous system feels safe. But there is another way to create that safety when you're meandering and you're creating something out in the world that doesn't exist yet. And it is by seeing modeled examples, people who are doing what it is that you would like to do, that are sharing their Dharma, their unique calling into the world. They are being, all of them, everywhere they go, they are integrated, they are whole, and they are showing up as their full selves in every walk of life. They are going to demonstrate that for you today. So I want to hear in the chat, thank you so much for showing up for yourself today. I want to hear in the chat, who is excited for Dare to Dream, Dharma Queen, the keys to unlock your calling today? I love seeing your energy. I love seeing your hands up. I love seeing the chat. And yes. Oh my goodness. So good to have you here. Nice to have you, Nancy, Christina, Janice. Oh my goodness. And I'm just getting to, if you see me looking down here, this is the chat. And I see you all have popped in here. We have Sia from Switzerland. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We have, let's see, Sue, United States. We have Helen from Wiltshire in the UK, which is right next to where I grew up. We have Sam from South Wales. Now, this is an interactive session. We really want to support you. And so I ask that if you have questions for these experts I bring up today, please pop them in the chat. If you see me looking down, I'm reading the chat, and I might just ask your question to these experts. So please be interactive, and it's so good seeing you on the screen. So thank you those who are not naked and showing up on the screens today. So I'm really excited. We're about to dive on in with our experts today. Before we do, this is a 2-day event, so make sure you are back same time tomorrow, where I'm going to be giving a 90-minute Dharma Queen masterclass. I'm going to take you through the process that will remove any blocks, any self-doubt, any questioning of confidence that you have around what your Dharma is in this world, so you can lead it like the queen you are. But without further ado, let's bring up our experts for today. I'm so delighted to have in the room today, I have Ambila Nath. She's a spiritual business coach, Pam Malhotra, who's a personal wealth consultant, Simona Shimanovic, a spiritual business coach, Samantha Jayne is a spiritual business coach all the way from the UK, and Jennifer Butler, who works with me on the psychology of color and design. I'm honored to have all of you here today. Let me introduce you to these experts, and thank you to my assistant Camille. If you need anything today, Camille is in the chat supporting you. So Camille, if you will pin all of the speakers or spotlight all of the speakers, and let me introduce you to these incredible experts. So Ambila Nath is a certified coach and magazine editor, a serial entrepreneur, spiritual leader, international speaker, and an avid follower of her passions. She defied the expectations of her Asian roots for women to carve out her own path, leaving behind a cushy job and a fat paycheck to follow her calling. She now teaches others from all over the world to open up and connect with their inner guidance system to grow their business. And Billa, it's so good to be with you today. How are you?
Rose, it's great to be here, and I'm so excited, especially seeing all of these wonderful women next to me, but also the people who are watching us.
Yes, thank you so much. And we'll dive on in and get to hear more from you in a moment. Simona Shimanovic is a spiritual business coach, yoga teacher, and founder of Moon Tribe, who helps conscious entrepreneurs. I like that, don't you? Conscious entrepreneurs. I think that's where we're heading in the world, to grow their business so they can create more income and impact. Her vision is to activate conscious leaders to their own power and share their magic so we can create new earth together. And that is rapidly arriving. Simona, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Rose. Thank you for having me. And hello, everyone. It's wonderful to be here and to come together in these crazy times, right? Absolutely. It's good to be together. Thank you for organizing this.
Yes, thank you for being here. Samantha Jayne is an award-winning UK-based spiritual business coach. She combines her work as a multi-dimensional healer and entrepreneur coach to shift spiritually minded business owners out of their fear-based 3D programming, ancestral conditioning, and persecution energy to free them from limiting beliefs. She talks about why women need to be comfortable with creating wealth in the New World energy. Samantha Jayne, how are you today?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. A little bit of camera issue, it keeps bouncing out, but hopefully we'll be good to go. But I'm very good, thank you so much.
Well, we'll pray to the gods of Mercury that we have good connection across the waters today. Thank you for being here. And Jennifer Butler is the leading expert in the sociology of style and color, understanding that mastery of appearance is critical to effective communication. She develops style and color palettes that reveal the essence of an individual's personality. Through her work, Jennifer helps clients ranging from CEOs and business executives to celebrities, artists, and community leaders to powerfully, authentically, and effectively express themselves. Jennifer, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. What a lovely group to be with and share all of our gifts. Thank you for sourcing this for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. And thank you to the audience. It really comes from the audience, and it's that really moves us into purpose. And so I really want to hear how each of you are moved into purpose. So I'm gonna today I surveyed the audience members as they were joining this event, and I sat and I went through a giant wad of responses. Thank you to everybody who took the time to share what you most need right now. And based on that and your expertise, I'm asking you very specific questions. So Ambila, first and foremost, you literally left the security of your old career to pursue your passions. And actually, the women in our audience today are seeking a way to rediscover a sense of passion. So I'll ask you, how did you discover your passion? And I'm sure it wasn't easy leaving behind the safety of your career, right? Talk to us about that, because I hear that over and over again, the fear of leaving the security of a paycheck. How did you do it?
Well, this is where also the strategy and the logic also has to apply. As much as I'd love to say it was all my intuition, I planned. So I did, the strategic planning of making sure I had money in the bank. Before I made that leap of faith, I made sure I did a lot of my research, just the normal practical things, making sure I knew my market, what I needed to do. I got qualified. I basically had everything set up before I quit the job, and then I went across. But all of that was guided by my intuition, because I knew from the age of 19 I wanted to be an entrepreneur, didn't know what it was going to be. And when I hit 30, that's when my intuition really kicked in and went, now's the time to do it. So yeah, so a lot of planning, but always following my intuition.
Yeah, I love that. I love that balance of the divine masculine with the divine feminine. You're talking about intuition, you're talking about that you had a strategy behind it as well, the structure behind it. So thank you so much for sharing that. And so Pam, you probably won't be surprised to hear that we have a lot of entrepreneurial women in the audience today, and many of them have expressed frustration in trying to figure out a business strategy that generates consistent income. What would you say to these women?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I appreciate, having a space to speak. So thank you, Rose, and thank you everyone joining me. Here's what I'll start off with, and I'm not sure if this is common knowledge, but if we look at women and their space in the world today, women own 1/3 of the world's wealth. Understanding that we own 1/3 of the world's wealth, and 40% in 2023, so 40% of the wealth is for us, we're projected to increase annually at 7.2% annually, outpacing men, which are at 5.2% for the same growth and metrics. So I think the first thing is to, kind of say, we're on the map. We need to understand true financial strategies today, because there is money that is being made, that is being, harnessed. If you look at women CEOs, there's 10% of the Fortune 500 companies that are women. So we're making a lot of headway. And I think that's number one, important to establish. And I think the second thing is, as we're looking for ways to build a viable financial plan or a viable structure, is to first say, what is my passion? What do I feel is going to resonate with me? Because I'm sure everyone on the panel can resonate with, if it feels right, it's going to come out in ways that it's meant to be. And generally, like, just being ahead of financial literacy. And that's where my program is designed to target, not, do this and do that. I mean, I worked 20 years in the financial industry. I worked for the second largest bank in Canada. And just as COVID hit, I resigned that 20-year career because it didn't resonate with my dharma. What I was doing, what I was saying didn't make sense. So start there. If it feels right and it feels centered to your core, start there, because then you're going to go out and look for information first. Having finances available to us is very key. However, like I always mention, retention is even more important, right? We know how quickly it can go away.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I see some questions in the chat there, so it sounds like you're really hitting things that people are really needing support with. And I think those statistics are shocking. It's how did we get here? But there is this shift happening. So thanks to, women like you who are actually teaching what financial literacy is and how to retain the wealth that we generate. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Simona, women are feeling a deep knowing that they need to switch gears and they need to switch careers, but they don't know how to take that leap of faith without a financial safety net. So what do they need in order to take the leap?
Well, first of all, I just want to normalize it, that it is really scary to take the leap, right? So everyone who has done it knows that it's a big thing and it takes really courage. It's not easy. For me, I had an established career. I was in the creative industries in London, working as an art director and as a designer for many years. And alongside, I was practicing yoga, I was doing teacher trainings and starting to travel to Asia more and more. and doing different retreats and trainings, and then coming back into the office, and it started to feel harder and harder to just get back into the box. And at some point I couldn't do it anymore. And in my own journey, it was actually, I had a lot of resistance to take the leap, because I was also afraid how to pay my bills and how to keep going. But I think there comes a point where we can't ignore it anymore, because our purpose is starting to, the quiet voice is becoming louder and louder and louder, right? So we actually need to do it. And if I look back at my own journey, I just wish I would have gotten the right support earlier, because I was for a long time just kind of doing it by myself and, you know, Googling it and trying to get my business off the ground. And actually, because I was freelancing in London as a designer, but then I also started an ethical clothing brand from scratch. And there I started feeling really overwhelmed and started feeling nearly burned out at some point. So I was traveling in Bali, and then I, for the first time, started working with coaches. And it was at a point where I was like, I can't do it alone anymore. I really need support. And I want to speak to that. If anyone here in the space is feeling that, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling stuck, it's really important to get the right support. And it can feel scary to make the investment, because you're like, oh my God, how am I going to pay all of it? But actually, you can't afford not to make the investment, because you waste a lot of time and you waste a lot of energy turning in circles and staying stuck. So for me, actually looking back, that was the best thing I could do. And it changed my life in many ways, because actually the beauty of it, and why I also love coaching about business, it's not really about business. It's not really about money. It's about the deeper things that we need to unravel on the way. There are other things that are holding us back, which is actually, it's about becoming the person we are meant to become on the way. So for me, that's the beauty of also of guiding people and seeing this, because we're becoming more of ourselves in this journey. And that's the purpose of it, the way I see it.
Yeah, my goodness. I love what you said there about, you know, you realized that there was so much energy wasted through time. And then it was the key thing I heard there is you said you got support, you know, you got coaching and you got support to really support you in that journey. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And Samantha Jayne, so a lot of women in our audience are trying to figure out how to become financially independent because their husbands control the money. And so, what blocks do you see that affect women when it comes to money, and how can we become responsible for creating our own wealth?
Well, I'm a big believer. I work obviously with light workers and light leaders to create businesses from their gifts. And I believe that's why we are gifted. And then by using the gift, the universe gives us back. So I think it's really important to understand that as women, we have to work through the processes and the fears of ourself, our own programming, our own beliefs, but also the ancestrals and the generations of gifted people before. It's really important for women to take back their claim on money, because it's the only way we will rebalance this earth. And it is part of the ascension process. It is why everyone here today, has this deep sense of purpose, is because they do have a purpose, and that purpose is to be part of the ascension process. So I think it's really important for women to talk about money, embrace money. A lot of us I'm 51, my generation, parents didn't talk about money and things like that. Do you know what I mean? It was all, I just think women need to be open and be far more demanding financially and self-sufficient, because I'm a big believer, sorry ladies if you don't like it, you should never put yourself in a position of being dependent on a man for money, because you're giving away your power. And money is a power, whether you like it or not. Money is a power, and you cannot make a change in this world if you do not have money and the energy of money in your pocket. It's impossible because of the way the world is set up right now.
Yeah, I have tingles as you're saying that. It's so powerful. So thank you for using your voice so powerfully around that. And I can see, and what I really love about these panels is there's always a theme. And I can see, you know, as each of you is speaking, all the other speakers are like, yep, yep, there's a sisterhood in the journey that you've been in. And so Jennifer Butler, so the theme of this panel is finding meaning through work and financial success through that. And one of the blocks that women keep addressing over and over is that they have no confidence or love for themselves to speak their truth on the matters that are most important to them. And I think you are the perfect person to speak on this because you address the fact that over 90% of communication, and I learned this from you, is non-verbal, it's visual. So what would you say to these women on how they can communicate and grow their confidence through non-verbal communication?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah, because somehow you're not on my screen. So I will just proceed. I would say, you know, my career kind of happened to me. And even though I resisted it a couple of times and decided it wasn't for me, it sort of kept showing up. And at one point, I decided in terms of my presentation, I was, you know, trained at Bloomingdale's in New York. So I had some great credentials, but I heard about this, you know, having your colors done. And I thought, well, that's important for me at least to know about. And I wasn't interested really in doing it, but I had my colors done 10 different times. And finally I met my teacher, and she would always say, you know, what's important about each creation is, first of all, we're a work of art, and we're whole and complete the way we are. And we don't need to be different. We don't need to, you know, dye our hair or do all the other things that are available to us these days. That if we just focus on our own creation and the psychology of color that's available through that. So today I'm wearing my skin tone, right, which creates relationship in a trusting manner. So even just learning about your skin tone like that was the most important thing that really changed for me, because I had an intensity that I wanted to be able to have the option to soften. And that's what the skin tone does. So I started with Suzanne. I wasn't really planning to do what I'm doing now. I really wanted to do personal shopping for people, but the colors kept kind of calling to me. And when I trained with her, this is a really beautiful, important thing, is that she taught me to paint my skin tone and then my eye color and my hair color. So there was this ability to have ownership over my own creation, because I'm the only Jennifer Abbey Butler on the planet. There's not 10 of me. I don't have a day off, right? So I thought, if I can own what I actually look like without trying to change myself, would that possibly be powerful for me? And would I, in fact, be able to do that, and as a result, feel more authentic? So that was a really important change. Now I'm 76, right? So I've been doing really my life's work since 1979. And I always was connected spiritually. It didn't matter what organization it was. I always found some way to connect spiritually. And I remember saying one day, I was speaking to the goddess, and I said, you know, I have no idea how to run my business. I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to take care of myself and learn to nurture myself and go and play. And so that's when my business really started to change. It was kind of a shocking thing for me to do, because my family was brought up to work really hard. But I think it's always turning over. You know, the question is, when you want your life's work, you're getting it from the universe, or for me, it was the goddess. So then I have to be available. I can't have my mind working and worried. So every day is, how can I be of service? How can I be open to divine guidance for what's next for me? And to claim it, you know, I deserve to have my life's work while I'm alive on this planet. You know, as a daughter of the universe, I deserve that. So anyway, that's what I did, and I'm still doing my work and now passing it on to the next generation.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness you're doing your work. I personally am very grateful for your work and for you. Somebody asked in the chat, and I love this. So as you're hearing these incredible experts are tuning in from all around the world, you know, what are you hearing, right? You can really solidify that when you write it down. So I recommend always having notepad and pen. You can type it into the chat, and that way we can really pull up, you know. So Nancy was saying here, like, yes, get control of your family finances. She was really lit up by that conversation by Samantha Jayne. So please do ground what you're really hearing today from these experts. And right now, you know, one of the biggest topics we heard, and the number one thing is how do I become financially successful through meaningful work? And so, Billa, I really want to throw the question over to you, which is unlocking your calling. And I know you talk about making spirituality accessible and elevating women through confidence. So how did you unlock your calling for anyone who is feeling lost, or they're feeling like they're not being financially successful through meaningful work?
I went through trial and error, but I'm not going to share that with you because it's a long way. But having learnt the trial and error makes it easier for me to then share the journey. Unlocking your passion is very much about, as I said, you have to employ logic with the spiritual. Because the spiritual is like what I call your Google map. It's your guidance system. It's going to give you all the signals, all the signs every time you've got a diversion or if it's a smooth road ahead. But the logic and the practical is you needing to take action. So for me, it was very much getting clear on what it was that I wanted to do, how I wanted to serve people. And for me, that was more spiritual related than it is more strategic related, because that part is a given thing. But the more I started actually talking about intuition, how people can open up to it, what it actually means in a language that people can actually understand, and using analogies that made it more accessible and easier, the more I found people were able to relate and use those tips and knowledge within their own life. Getting to financial freedom is very much about exactly what Simone said. You have to work with an expert. Whether that's on a free, like this amazing platform where you're educating yourself, where you're finding out all of these wonderful experts that exist and then linking in and following up, or whether that's attending webinars or actually employing a proper coach to work with. I can't remember a day or a life where I've not worked with some kind of a coach. And I think it's really important, regardless of what level you may be at currently, that you're always working with an expert who's a few steps ahead of you so that they're able to help to guide you. So having all of that really helps. And as Pam was saying, I was literally nodding like this. You have to financially educate yourself. This is something we as women grew up not really knowing, understanding. We kind of live on a month by month mindset that, you know, we get a wage, we know how to spend it, we can, you know, keep the bills going, but we don't know how to generate wealth from it. And that is so important for us to educate, because wealth for me used to be just one box. I'm going to succeed in my coaching business, and any other business or wealth that the universe was giving me, I was literally turning it away because my mindset was I could only succeed in one thing. Please don't make that same mistake. If the universe is giving you multitudes of wealth, regardless of where it's coming from, but it's giving you passion, it's giving you blessings, please embrace it and use that wealth to accumulate more.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So I see the chat is lighting up with questions around financial literacy and educating ourselves. And so I wanted to throw it over to Pam, because this, I know you had, and this often happens, such an intense experience in life that it drives and it it kind of, you know, it's the pressure on the carbon that turns it into the diamond, right? How did you unlock your calling, and how, you know, what was it that really led you to specialize in financial literacy? I think that will really kind of empower the audience today, and especially anything, knowing like where to start. Where do you start as a woman if you do feel disempowered around money? How can you get yourself educated and empowered?
Well, when it comes to finding my purpose, I think a big part of it starts with the work within. When we look at, so I have this principle that I like to follow: what we say, think, do, want, and desire, if it's not in alignment, we're not in alignment with who we are. That is a problem. That's your number one problem. Before you try to solve everything outwards, look at yourself and say, what isn't working for me? If you look at your world inside, you'll realize that your financial picture is a resemblance of it. It's also not working. And so that, you know, working in the industry and looking at what I was doing versus what I was having to tell people to do, at one point my integrity said, no, I can't do this. This is not okay anymore. You know, I can't tell you to get a mortgage because it doesn't make sense. I can't tell you to get another account because that also doesn't make sense. I think, you know, what I like to really focus on when I'm looking at my stuff is like, look at my understudy is behavioral finance. What are the behaviors that we have? Where do they come from? And kind of aligning the inner to the outer world. So it's scientifically proven when we're in financial stress, it's equivalent to a physical attack. So first of all, we're thinking from a place of being constantly in fight and flight mode. If you look at that, and then you add on the statistic that we lose 11% of our IQ when we are in financial stress, how are we not equipped to make the right financial decisions? We're actually losing the power to do so. So when I started realizing the statistics and studying more deeper, I realized that, you know, and COVID was happening, I was like, oh my goodness, we are not prepared for what's about to come. And I think I was pretty bang on. And what I mean by that is, we as women, as a mom of 3 girls, are put into this position where and this is my story, of course, where I was like, I have 3 girls. I need to make my finances work. What I'm doing is not resonating with where I am. Okay, what can I fix first? And the beauty is we can only focus on what we do. And so as I started seeing and you know, again, working with so many clients and propelling, I realized there was an underlying common theme. We are not fundamentally set up to be financially empowered. That is the theme in today's market. We're not given the tools to understand how to use. So financial literacy is having the knowledge and the tools to make the right financial decisions based on what we currently are going through. So, you know, and if we look at a bank across any part of the world, a bank is fundamentally set up as a corporation. A corporation, by definition, is set up to make profits. Yet we want to solve our financial problems by saying, here. So what I'm saying is what we're saying, doing, and want to do is just not in alignment. So create alignment with that first. And that's where my journey started, you know, and that's where looking at the statistics, looking at the world, and actually understanding that our financial beliefs, I don't know if this is a known fact, but our financial beliefs actually start at age 4 and solidify by age 8. So as women, as we're trying to figure out our finances, and, you know, for the ones that are moms, we're also responsible for the beliefs that they're going to have. And that's why they call it generational wealth. And so all those things started compounding. And I'm like, uh-oh, we're not prepared. And that's when I came out with What the Financial, just to say, how can I make it make sense? I am a licensed personal financial planner. And I have my real estate mortgage. I wanted to bring the universe in the financial realm together with my 20-year banking experience. And so that's what I started. I didn't want to be the leader of the industry. I wanted to be the pulse. I wanted to be able to fundamentally change the outcome of people's lives. So I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm a personal wealth consultant, which means I actually work on your picture. I look at, is your plan reasonable, attainable? Does it make sense? You know, because we can say we want to earn $1 million, but are we doing the right things to get us there? That's kind of my vision for what financial literacy starts at, is, you know, align what you say, think, want, feel, and do and desire. And then we will create the outer universe in that way.
Yeah. And I love Nancy says, great business name in the
Oh,
chat.
thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You know what you're saying there is absolutely true. If we look on a nervous system level, you know, money is deeply intrinsically connected with survival. And so if we feel you know, a lack, if we're not retaining what we have, we can very quickly drop down into a fight flight response, or even more debilitated in our nervous system. So it absolutely makes sense that then we don't have the prefrontal cortex to actually be able to, you know, make the best decisions. And so it sounds like, you know, if you're if you have support and you have financial literacy ahead of time, then that's really going to set you up in being
And I just want to chime in on that one quick second.
Yeah.
In terms of support, you know, it's really important when we talk about our program, we talk about you being in charge of your financial future. Ultimately, regardless of what coaches we have, we all know that we fundamentally cannot encourage someone to want to do well. So for, like, again, going back to what do you want? How can you make it happen? Finding the right coaches, because the reality is we're not equipped to work on our own financial structure, right? That's why we need coaches. If we're going to lose 11% of our IQ because we're financially strained, then how can we be the solution to our own financial plan?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, thank you.
Simona, I want to ask you, you know, you talked about we're at a fork in the road to a new earth. We've got two potential timelines ahead of us. And you mentioned, you know, oppression or awakening. And so I would love to hear from you how we can choose the road and what hope is there. I think anytime we get into this conversation where, you know, we have an alignment coming up in February 2024 that will be the same as the Revolutionary War of 1776. And that can quite quickly also dysregulate people and lead us more into a freeze state. And so how do we choose the paradigm and the timeline we enter into? What are you seeing? And what is a sense of hope around that?
Loving this, Rose, because I also work a lot with astrology as you do, and I think it's very helpful. And I mean, I don't know how everyone here is feeling it, but I think the intensity is pretty much on at the moment, right? I think it's really a time where we need to really support ourselves in many ways, and a lot is happening in the world and also personally. We're just completing this eclipse season. I think it has brought up so much stuff, right? So we need to look after ourselves. And I mean, we were speaking about it as well, Rose. I feel there's a sense of urgency for those of us who are here as light workers and to bring us into this new earth. So we're all being activated, right? So for those here in the audience who are feeling, oh my God, I really need to follow my purpose, it is because now is the time, I think, right? We are all like, the time is now. Let's get our act together and let's do it together. And I always say the world needs conscious leaders. The world needs us, right? Look at the state of the world.
What does it mean to be a conscious
so needed,
leader?
Right?
Yeah, that's something I'd love to ask as a follow-up question, because I love that you talk about being a conscious entrepreneur and a conscious leader. What differentiates that, you know, just kind of like inserting that question now, what differentiates that, you know, being conscious? How do we know if we're being conscious in our work?
Yeah, I mean, I was also actually really relating to what Pam was saying, because I've also worked in the corporate world before. And I think a lot of what is happening in the business world is just really out of integrity. And it doesn't have to be. I think businesses can be vehicles for positive change, right? Businesses are just businesses. Money is just money. It depends how we use it, right? So it's about taking our power back and also stepping into the leadership, not waiting for someone else to give us permission, right, to do the thing. And of course, that can feel scary, and that can take courage. So that's why, as we're all sharing, it's helpful to have a guide on the path. But in the end, it's also our decision to follow this calling. And I also want to say to everyone listening, it's maybe also a story that you don't know your purpose, because maybe you know it and maybe you had this, you know, inner voice for a long time already, but it's often hard to really act on it and to follow it because it feels very scary. So there's all these things. And for me, I mean, one of my beliefs is that when we actually follow our purpose and when we follow our true calling, we are supported. We are supported by the universe, because this is why you are here, right? So I think it's a very helpful to believe, to know that you will be supported when you're doing the thing you're meant to be doing here on the earth at this time that we're in right now. And then everything can fall into place, and, you know, having the right people, the right opportunities coming in. But it takes a level of trust. It takes a level of surrender. I really love what Jennifer was saying about handing it over to the goddess, and I'm completely with it and saying, how can I be of service? You know, what do you want me to do? That's the level of surrender and trust that we need to bring, because actually we're not really in control. So it's a deep spiritual work, I think. That's what I mean when I speak about being a conscious entrepreneur. I think like the strategy takes you so far, but there's a lot about also the energy and how do we want to build these new businesses that are part of the new earth and not of the old paradigm that is falling apart.
I love that so much, how you define that. Thank you for defining that so clearly. And it really resonates. And I can see how lit up you are about that. And I feel like Samantha Jayne could totally riff off that. And I know, Samantha Jayne, what is it that blocks us around finances and actually making money doing what it is that is meaningful in our life? Talk to us, because I know you talk about ancestral blocks. You talk about a lot that, you know, a lot of wounding that we may be carrying. What exactly is blocking us, and how can we work to dissolve that?
I think that part of the issue is that we are kind of plugged into the job programming from the day we enter. Here in the UK, we'd say nursery school, which is about the age of 4, I think, these days. But you're basically plugged into that mentality of, certainly here in the UK, of do as you're told, head down. If you're really good, when you finished at 65, 70, we'll let you have about 3 years to enjoy life if you're actually physically capable of it. And then we'll kind of, you'll pop your clogs and we'll see you in the next life. But I think that the reason for this is that it's about control, and we're held in a state of fear. And I think you have to get your head around that the New World energy, money is simply love. So it's really important to unplug from yourself. If you watch the film The Matrix, Rose, now I always said donkeys years ago, that was not a film, that was a documentary. And the work that I do is to unplug everybody out of the bathtub and teach them how to put the black leather on and spin around the room and create their own universe. Because we have to recognize that we have been living on purpose since the day we were born. You are already in your path of purpose. Everything you have walked through since the day you were born was your earth school to give you the understanding and compassion, the skill set, the knowledge that you need to bring to the table. That is your gift. And at some point, you will go through some kind of challenge in your life which will awaken you, because it is time to activate your calling. For me, that was at 28, single, unexpectedly pregnant, homeless, broke, absolutely broke, you know, but that was my awakening. Now, for me, purpose and calling are two different things. Calling is the overall vibration. Purpose is your path within it. So, and what we have to understand is part of that job mentality we got plugged into is that we must work and we must work hard and money can only come through employment and da 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 da. Now I get all of that. I've been there. I promise you I've been there. But the reason why your gifts have been shut down is because it makes you uncontrollable, and buried in that gift is your calling, the calling vibration, and therefore your abundance energy. Until you answer your calling, until you step up to the plate of purpose, you will be constantly put back into broke situations, which here in this physical world is money. Yeah, you'll be, and trust me, I'm the bust and boom queen. This is what I coach because of that cycle, because we have to go through an awakening. And because money is the most powerful energy, that is the best way to get you to wake up and to become the conscious creator that you are put here to be. And your money, your abundance stream lies in your gifts. Because if you are here today as a grown-ass woman in this platform, in this zone, then you are already a pioneer. And the sooner we can get you to plug into, you don't have to be like me, 210%, do you know what I mean, in it. You only need to be 10% in it, if that's what you choose. And that's what's key. I know it's hard for people to get their heads around it, but you are choosing everything that you are in. And that includes the poverty mindset that you are plugged into. And this is a big thing when I'm coaching about manifesting. We all go, oh, yeah, go me, when we manifest something good, like some hot, sexy lover, or a chunk of money, or a new role, or blah, blah, blah. But, you need to be as grateful for the challenge, the shit day you just had. You need to be grateful for that as well. And because until you appreciate all of that abundance state, because even a challenge, I say, change the word challenge in your dialogue to opportunity, and you will go through massive transition. And then you are open to the whole of your abundance stream instead of just the bit that suits your ego state.
Mic drop. I love this from Truth in the chat. She said, "You are all on fire, and I'm so glad to be here." So this is really resonating with our audience. Thank you for opening up this realm. And Jennifer, one of the things that I find riveting about the work that you do is that you actually have had clients in a way rediscover who they are. And they're able to find more meaningful work through discovering that with their season. I've had this experience myself with you. And so for the women who are looking for meaningful work, how can they use the psychology of color to connect with employers, clients, and investors, and whomever they need to connect with successfully?
Well, I think the universe definitely has our back. It always has, and it always will. And when I studied with Suzanne, the originator of the color harmony theory, that harmony is a very important part of it, she said there's an inner light of each season. And so you, Rose, are lit by the sunlight, as is Nancy, who's with us today. And the purpose, the divine purpose is the hours about the originator. In terms of the life cycle of Mother Earth, the springs are all about the new calling, the new life, the new beginnings, really the cheerleaders. And you can see in terms of your voice how you create that with everybody, get everybody excited and uplifted. Then there's the summer, that's the divine feminine, and they're lit by twilight. And the twilight, those women usually come to me when they've overworked on their masculine side and they know it's not being true to themselves. So all of a sudden they say, I'm going to heal the divine feminine within me. And they focus on a different kind of career. Oftentimes they leave the corporate world and they become a healer or a coach or a counselor or a therapist. I just had someone the other day, that's exactly what she did, because the corporate setting was too male for her. And she said, where can I contribute? And she said, I can be a therapist, and now that's exactly what she's doing. So the gifts of each season give us the life process. And so the summers teach us to live in a state of grace. Then the autumn is all about the fire in the belly and the manifesting and the harvest. And they're just natural born leaders. I had a woman who came to me and got 5 raises within a year because she owned herself being in autumn. So the winter, which I am, we're abstract thinkers. So I'm lit from the moon. And I grew up in a family that I could have been a lawyer, right, to follow my brothers, 5 brothers. And the arts wasn't necessarily nurtured for me. That even though my mother was very gifted at it, it's not, she didn't even recognize it in herself. So it really came later. I followed her footsteps and worked in retail, and then found out about this color thing and realized, okay, maybe this can be my life's work. So the sunlight, twilight, fire, and moon give us, the foundation of who we are on the planet for our whole life. So I know that I don't have to be those other 3. That's not where my gift is. And that really helped me decide what to do with my life.
Yeah, it's such powerful work. And it's so validating of, we're not trying to be something other than who we are, and therefore we can actually bring our essence into this world. And I love the, Bernadette's like sunlight, twilight, and the moon. Eek, I love this. So you can go to jenniferbutlercolor.com. I think that's the website, and you can do an essence quiz and find out which light you are. Quick plug there. But I know you all have incredible, generous gifts to share with our audience, because we've opened up this conversation and I've seen so many questions. I haven't even been able to get to all of them. Okay, how do I become financially literate? Who is the goddess? All of these incredible questions. And so these experts, they are people that can support you. So Ambila, I know that you have an incredible free gift for our audience. Could you please share what that is and who it's for?
It's for anybody who's wanting to learn about manifesting and what it's all about. But rather than actually going straight into what manifesting is about, I start with why it's not working for you, because I think that's a fundamental question that people have, why it's not working. So I've got this downloadable PDF, 1 click away, and that will give you your answers. And if you have any other questions, then DM me, send me a message.
Yeah, thank you so much. So my assistant Camille, she start dropping those gifts into the chat here. We'll also be emailing them out again after the event today. So make sure you grab that so that you can learn more from Ambila. And Pam, you have an incredible free gift for our audience as well. Tell us about what it is and why people should grab that today.
Absolutely. So it's our financial freedom agenda. And rather than having the 12 months in it, it is really focused on, like setting a goal, writing down your expenses, managing it. Like some people love, like they'll look at like the envelope method, and some will be like, I just want to look at my transactions. This allows you to figure out what the best method for you is. We hear about budgeting. We think it's a new concept. It's been around since 1760s. It's not new, yet there's no real right way to do it. So the financial planner, what I've done is I've looked at it as an objective. Here's a few things. And I focus on, rather than things you can buy, focus on experiences or things that you want to have in this life. Because remember, money is a means to an end. We just have to get really good at managing that money to get to that end. And that's what this financial planner does. It is a monthly planner, so you can print it unlimited times and focus on your monthly. I recommend completing it before the month starts, month to month, and then when the month ends, review your previous one and see what those goals are and where you are. It should help everyone get started.
I think that's so good because, like you said, it's an entire world out there. We say the word budget and that could mean a million different things. So I love that you have put this together and you are sharing that with us. Thank you so much, Pam. It's so generous. Thank you. And Simona, I know you have a meditation. I know our audience loves meditations. Tell us about your free gift and what it will do for those that listen in.
Yeah, so I've created a beautiful gratitude meditation that will help you to attract more abundance. And I feel it's really connected to what we've been speaking about. We need to regulate our nervous system. We need to get out of the fight, flight, stress mode, because from there we can't really find answers. The mind is not going to solve it. So for me, it's very helpful through the meditation, connect to your heart. And from there, the answers come much more easily. And I would say at the moment, we really need it. So whenever you have a day where you wake up a little bit like out of balance, this can help to just get back into the, so I'm having this, people can download it. And also if you want to connect, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. And I'm also offering short calls, free calls, if someone wants to chat more. So reach out with any questions.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Simona. So generous, and I can so feel your heart and your passion and your fierce leadership in this. So thank you so much. Samantha Jayne, I know people are loving just how straightforward and to the point and how much truth is coming out from you. So what is your free gift and why should people grab that from you today?
My gift for all you fabulous ladies today is a free seat at it's to gain access at my pre-recorded. It is called Soulful Money Manifestors. It is a 4-hour mastermind that I recorded very recently with my clients. And it will take you on a journey to look at where your blocks are coming from. I talk very openly, very honest. You've probably worked out I don't have time to muck about. We've got so much work to do, so it's very push, but it will get you there faster. That's what moves you faster. So in it, you'll take a journey about looking at your blocks. I'm also included within it is an activation to activate your abundance stream, because that's a huge part of what I do. Now, I would strongly recommend you go and grab it because I'm just off now to run a 4-day retreat for the 11-11. And we've got a triple on this 11-11-11, because when we add the 20-23, we're on 11 as well. So you've got 3 timelines opening up to you. Are you going to do 3D, 4D, or 5D? That is the question. All right. So I would recommend you go and grab it. It is 4 hours. You will love it. I would love you to email me after you have watched it and tell me how you felt. I hope that helps you.
Beautiful, and I wish you so much success for I saw the photos of your 11-11 retreat coming up. It looks so beautiful.
Every year.
And Jennifer, my goodness, I'm so excited for your Celebrate Color webinar coming up. Would you share some context for people who are tuning in about how they can show up more visibly and gain confidence in their true essence? Why they should grab your free gift and who it's for?
Well, I think on December 2nd, right, at 10, we have our free event. It's honoring really the journey of authenticity on the planet. And I think when we tap into that authenticity, our life work, right, can reach a new level. And that's free to everybody. It's at 10 a.m. You can look at that at Eventbrite. And it's just a whole community of men and women and families who are learning to be true to themselves and live their higher purpose. So we'd love to share that with everybody. And it's free. Yeah.
Oh, so wonderful. And what I always find is that speakers always show up to each other's things as well. So it's so lovely to have you all together. So I can't believe I'm running on time, so that's really exciting. And I just want to therefore take a few moments to just thank each of you, Ambilla, Pam, Simona, Samantha Jayne, and Jennifer. Thank you I feel like I can't say Jennifer without saying Jennifer Butler, like those two have to be together. But thank you so much for being fearless leaders, for sharing how you did what you did, because I know you're always pioneering and moving forwards and sharing your work into the world, but to take this moment here today to show up live, to invite your audiences to share these generous free gifts. They're not really free gifts. These are paid things that you are giving to our audience for free to best support them. And this brings tears to my eyes as I say this. I want to just thank you deeply from my heart to yours for showing up on this collective mission, for being here in circle and really supporting this audience of almost 100 live, which is incredible. And just want to give it over to you. Final words, Ambilla.
I just want to say thank you for the platform. I have been a student, so I might be a teacher on the platform, but I've been a student learning from all of these wonderful experts. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Pam, final words.
Again, same thing. Thank you so much for the space and time today. Reach out if anyone has any questions. If you have something I can take a look at, I'll be more than happy to help. But thank you for everyone to also share the wisdom with me. It feels nice to know I know something about something. It's always a good feeling.
You definitely do. Thank you. Thank you for walking through what you've walked through to get here. Simona, final words.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, Rose, for bringing us together in this space. I really feel it's so important. And thank you everyone here on the panel, for coming together. Thank you everyone for joining live, because it is powerful. I can feel there's like this energetic vortex. We're 100 people live at the moment from all over the world. So let's, keep sharing our light and remember we are needed in this time.
Beautiful. And Samantha Jayne.
Again, thank you, Rose, for creating this space for this collective to come together. When one of us rises, when one of us succeeds, we all do, because we're all plugged into that same energy. So, and if anyone, please pop over. You don't need to enter a code. I noticed someone put something about you don't need to put on a code, but for the next 24 hours, you would get free access to mine. Any problems, drop me a message. But I am in the Galactics for the next 4 days, so I will get back to you next week. Okay.
And last but not least, Jennifer Butler, final word.
Thank you. What a privilege to be with everybody and really have such a heartfelt discussion about our lives. It was just so much fun. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And thank you so much.